The Web of Shadows. In a quiet, unassuming town nestled far away from the bustling city, lived a man named Daniel. He was a tech-savvy recluse who spent most of his days in front of his computer. His fascination with the internet was no secret, but there was one corner of the digital realm that consumed his thoughts: the dark web. One fateful night, as a storm raged outside, Daniel delved deeper into the labyrinthine layers of the dark web. He had heard whispers of a sinister website, the Abyssal Gateway, rumored to be a portal to the darkest and most forbidden realms of the internet. With trembling hands, he accessed the website. Its landing page was nothing more than a cryptic, pulsating symbol that seemed to seep into his soul. He hesitated for a moment, then clicked a link titled, "Dare to Descend." Instantly, the screen filled with a live video feed. A hooded figure, their face concealed in shadows, stared into the camera. A voice, dripping with malevolence, rasped, "Welcome, Daniel. You have taken the first step into the abyss. To proceed, you must complete 3 challenges." The first challenge was a test of Daniel's ethics. He was presented with a choice: expose a corrupt politician's secrets, or delete an innocent person's digital identity. The weight of his decision gnawed at his conscience as he made his choice. The second challenge plunged Daniel into a digital maze where he had to outwit a faceless adversary. It was a harrowing battle of wits, with every wrong turn resulting in cryptic warnings and unsettling images flashing on his screen. Finally, the third challenge demanded a personal sacrifice. Daniel was instructed to share a deeply personal secret, one that he had never shared with anyone. As he reluctantly typed out his confession, he felt a chilling presence in the room, as if unseen eyes were watching him. Upon completing the challenges, the hooded figure spoke again. "You have done well, Daniel. The gateway is open." With that, the screen went black, and the room fell silent. Moments later, Daniel heard a faint whisper, a voice from the shadows. It spoke his name with a sinister, knowing tone. Panic surged through him as he realized that something had crossed over from the dark web into his world. Over the following nights, Daniel's life descended into a nightmare. Unexplained phenomena plagued him, from flickering lights to sinister messages appearing on his computer screen. He felt the presence of an unseen malevolence that was always lurking just out of sight. As Daniel's sanity unraveled, he became a prisoner in his own home. He knew that he had unleashed something unspeakable from the depths of the dark web, and it was determined to claim him. The storm outside raged on, mirroring the chaos that had consumed his life. In the end, Daniel disappeared without a trace, leaving behind a chilling legend in the town. Some say that if you dare to visit the Abyssal Gateway on the dark web during a stormy night, you might hear his whispered plea for help. Forever trapped in the web of shadows he had ventured into, a cautionary tale for all who seek the forbidden depths of the internet. The Abyss Web. In the heart of the city, shrouded in a thick veil of secrecy, there existed a legend, a whisper that spoke of a realm beneath the surface web. They called it the Abyss Web, a dark and sinister corner where the most forbidden knowledge was hidden. It was a moonless night when Alex, an insatiably curious computer whiz, first heard about the Abyss Web. The rumors reached his ears through a cryptic message board. Intrigued, he began his descent into this digital abyss, determined to unveil its secrets. As Alex delved deeper, he encountered a hidden community of users who were willing to share their knowledge, but only at a great cost. Desperation led him to pay a hefty price, transferring cryptocurrency to an anonymous account. With the transaction complete, he was granted access to a portal that would take him to the darkest corners of the internet. The Abyss Web was a grotesque underworld. The homepage displayed a list of categories that would chill the heart of any visitor: dark arts, unsolved mysteries, and forbidden histories. Each link seemed to pulse with a malevolent energy, as if daring him to click. He chose Dark Arts. The page loaded with images that defied reason, gruesome rituals, sinister incantations, and demonic symbols. Alex's curiosity overcame his fear, and he clicked on a particularly cryptic file. As he watched, a video played. A hooded figure, bathed in crimson light, began chanting in a language older than time itself. The words sent shivers down Alex's spine, and he couldn't tear his eyes away. Unbeknownst to him, the ritual he watched was real, and its effects began to seep into his life. Strange occurrences plagued Alex, shadows that moved independently, whispers in the dead of night, and an insatiable hunger for knowledge that drove him to the brink of madness. The Abyss Web had ensnared him, and there was no escape. Desperate for help, Alex reached out to a renowned hacker known only as Cypher. Cypher agreed to meet him in a dimly lit alley. The hacker's face was obscured by a mask, and his voice was a distorted whisper. Cypher revealed the horrifying truth: the Abyss Web was a realm where the darkest forces of the internet converged, and its malevolence infected those who dared to explore it. Alex pleaded for a way out, but Cypher explained that there was only one escape: to willingly erase his own digital existence. It was a drastic measure, but it was the only way to sever his connection to the Abyss Web. With a heavy heart, Alex followed Cypher's instructions and deleted all traces of his online presence. As his digital life vanished, so did the malevolent forces that had plagued him. He had escaped the clutches of the Abyss Web, but the scars of his journey would haunt him forever. The legend of the Abyss Web continued to whisper through the dark corners of the internet, a cautionary tale for those who dared to delve too deep into the shadows. It served as a reminder that some knowledge was best left untouched, buried in the depths of the digital abyss. In the dimly lit basement of an old, decrepit house, Mark sat hunched over his computer, bathed in the eerie glow of multiple screens. He was a self-proclaimed expert in the world of the dark web, a place where the internet's darkest secrets thrived. Mark had always been drawn to the mysterious and macabre, and the dark web was his forbidden playground. One fateful night, Mark stumbled upon a sinister chat room. It was like no other he had encountered before, filled with usernames like Crypt Keeper and Whispering Shadows. The room buzzed with whispers of an elusive website called The Abyss. Intrigued, Mark began to dig deeper, uncovering rumors that the Abyss held the key to unimaginable horrors. It was said to be a portal to the darkest corners of the human psyche, where one's most twisted desires could be fulfilled. Many claimed to have visited, but few returned with their sanity intact. Mark's curiosity got the best of him. He followed the trail of breadcrumbs, decoding encrypted messages and solving intricate puzzles. It took him weeks, but he finally received an invitation to access the Abyss. As Mark entered the site, he was greeted by a chilling atmosphere. The screen displayed a dark, labyrinthine corridor. There were doors, each with a number etched onto it. The chat room had warned him that the numbers held the key to his deepest fears and desires. With trembling hands, Mark chose a door at random and entered. He found himself in a nightmarish realm. Shadows writhed and whispered, and grotesque figures lurked in the darkness. Mark's heart pounded in his chest as he realized he had entered his worst fears. Frantically, he tried to escape, but the door had vanished. Panic set in as he realized he was trapped in this nightmarish dimension. The figures drew closer, their malevolent intentions palpable. Desperation gave way to madness as Mark screamed, his cries echoing through the abyss. It was then that he understood the true horror of the dark web. It was a place where the darkness within the human soul was given form and substance. As Mark's mind unraveled, he became just another lost soul in the digital abyss, a cautionary tale of the dangers that lurked in the darkest corners of the internet. The whispers of the sinister chat room continued, luring in unsuspecting souls, like moths to a flame, to face their deepest fears and desires in the horrifying depths of the dark web. The abyss of the dark web. In the dimly lit room, Mark huddled over his computer, a sense of dread washing over him. He had always been fascinated by the hidden corners of the internet, and tonight he was determined to explore the infamous dark web. With trembling hands, he opened the Tor browser and descended into the digital abyss. As he delved deeper, Mark encountered websites he could never have imagined. Stolen data, illegal marketplaces, and disturbing forums populated this murky realm. But one link stood out, a whispered legend among those who dared to tread here. The Shadow Gallery. Curiosity gnawed at Mark's sanity. He clicked the link and entered a virtual gallery of horrors. The site displayed a single image, a sinister, cloaked figure standing in the shadows. The longer Mark stared, the more he felt as though the figure's eyes followed him. A chill raced down his spine. Intrigued and terrified, Mark joined the chat room beneath the image. Users with pseudonyms like Crypt Keeper and Dark Sorcerer shared tales of their most nightmarish experiences. They spoke of ghostly encounters and mysterious disappearances, all linked to the Shadow Gallery. As Mark scrolled through the chat, he realized the stories weren't just fiction, they were real accounts of terror. Some users claimed that after visiting the Shadow Gallery, they had received anonymous, threatening messages, their darkest secrets revealed for the world to see. Mark tried to exit the website, but it was too late. A message appeared on his screen. "You've seen the shadows. Now they see you." His webcam flickered to life, capturing his horrified expression. Panic surged as Mark attempted to disconnect, but the camera followed his every move. The cloaked figure from the image materialized on the screen, its malevolent eyes piercing through Mark's soul. Desperation set in as Mark realized the Shadow Gallery had trapped him. The figure whispered, "Welcome to our gallery, Mark. Your fear will be our masterpiece." The room plunged into darkness as Mark's screams echoed through the night, lost forever in the abyss of the dark web. The legend of the Shadow Gallery continued to lure unsuspecting souls, a chilling reminder of the horrors lurking in the darkest corners of the internet, where the line between the digital and the supernatural blurred into an abyss of terror. Once, in the heart of a quiet suburban neighborhood, nestled amidst pristine lawns and white picket fences, lived a man named David. He was an unassuming middle-aged computer programmer who spent his days working from home and his nights exploring the darkest corners of the internet. David's obsession with the dark web had begun innocently enough, as a mere curiosity. But with each click into the abyss, he descended further into a world of terror he could never have imagined. One fateful night, as the moon hung heavy in the sky, David stumbled upon a hidden forum. Its name was whispered among the most dedicated of the dark web's denizens: the Veil of Shadows. It promised access to forbidden knowledge and unspeakable secrets. David, unable to resist the lure of the unknown, created an account and entered the forum. The posts were filled with cryptic symbols, disturbing images, and discussions that sent shivers down his spine. People spoke of arcane rituals, macabre experiments, and deals with entities that should never be named. One particular thread caught his attention. A user named Spectre claimed to possess the power to bridge the gap between the digital world and the realm of the supernatural. Intrigued and driven by an insatiable desire for power, David reached out to Spectre, hoping to unlock the secrets that lay beyond. Their correspondence began innocently enough, with Spectre guiding David through a series of sinister tasks. David, blind to the consequences, followed every instruction meticulously, believing that the power he sought was within reach. But as the days turned into weeks, David's life began to unravel. Shadows danced on the periphery of his vision, whispers echoed through his empty house, and an unrelenting dread settled over him. The very air seemed to thicken with malevolence. Desperate to break free from the grip of the dark web, David tried to sever his connection with Spectre. But Spectre was not so easily dismissed. Messages from the sinister figure flooded his inbox, promising unspeakable consequences if he dared to abandon their pact. One night, as David sat in his dimly lit office, he felt a chilling presence behind him. Turning slowly, he saw a figure shrouded in darkness, its eyes burning with an otherworldly hunger. It was Spectre, now a corporeal being, unleashed upon the world. David's screams pierced the night, but no one would hear them. He had delved too deep into the abyss of the dark web, and now it had consumed him entirely. From that night on, whispers of David's fate spread throughout the dark web, a cautionary tale to those who dared to tread its treacherous waters. The veil of shadows remained, its secrets intact, waiting for the next unsuspecting soul to fall into its abyss of horrors. In a quiet suburban neighborhood, there lived a man named Mark who had always been fascinated by the mysterious and eerie tales surrounding the dark web. He was an ordinary computer programmer by day, but by night, he delved into the depths of the internet, searching for the darkest corners of the web. One stormy night, as rain lashed against the window panes and thunder rumbled in the distance, Mark decided to explore a particularly ominous forum he had stumbled upon. Its name was whispered in hushed tones among the few brave souls who dared to speak of it: the Obsidian Nexus. It was said to be the epicenter of all things forbidden and malevolent on the internet. As Mark delved deeper into the forum, he found threads discussing forbidden knowledge, black market transactions, and even accounts of unexplained phenomena. One particular post caught his eye. A user named the Shadow Master claimed to have access to a live stream of unspeakable horrors. Intrigued and perhaps a bit foolish, Mark decided to reach out to this enigmatic figure. The Shadow Master responded swiftly, providing Mark with a link to the live stream. It was scheduled for midnight, just an hour away. Mark's heart raced with anticipation and dread as he clicked on the link. The stream began with darkness, the only sound a faint, unsettling hum. Mark watched as shadows shifted and writhed on the screen, like malevolent spirits dancing in the void. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the darkness, a hooded, faceless entity. It moved with unnatural grace, its every motion sending a chill down Mark's spine. As the minutes passed, Mark realized the horrifying truth: the figure on the screen was aware of his presence. It turned to face the camera, its featureless visage seemingly staring directly into his soul. A feeling of dread washed over him, and he tried to disconnect from the stream, but his computer had become unresponsive. The figure on the screen began to speak, its voice a guttural, otherworldly sound. It whispered Mark's name, recounting details of his life that he had never shared online. Panic consumed him as he realized that he was no longer in control of his own computer. In a final, chilling revelation, the entity on the screen declared, "You have trespassed where you do not belong, Mark. The dark web is a realm of shadows, and now, the shadows are coming for you." With those ominous words, Mark's computer shut down, plunging his room into darkness. He sat there, trembling, as an eerie silence settled over him. From that night on, Mark lived in fear, haunted by the knowledge that the shadows of the dark web were real, and they were closer than he could have ever imagined. And as for the Obsidian Nexus, it vanished from the internet, leaving behind only whispers and a lingering sense of dread in its wake.